All right, hello everybody. We are completely out of order, but it's okay because we love this movie so much we saved best for last. This is Laser Brains and your co-host Michael, and I'm joined by this guy.
Yes, Champion is what this guy usually calls me. It sounds weird for me to say my own name. But today we're going to be discussing the 1979 Star Trek classic, the motion picture. And we are joined, as we are often, maybe always, on our Star Trek episodes by Heather. Hello,
Hello, it's me again. I'm back.
Excited to be here,
I
clearly.
love every time you do a Star Trek movie.
Us too.
My favorite thing.
And you got your Star Trek
I
shirt
got my
on?
Star Trek shirt. I didn't put on one of my real costumes because I'm pretty sure I wore them all. But I still have many Star Trek wardrobe options. This is the most obvious one.
And what does
Yes,
it say?
who is this character? I don't know if I'm
This-
familiar with this character.
So this is sort of an offshoot character. His name is Spock.
Never
And he
heard of
says,
him.
Trek yourself.
Before you wreck yourself. I love
I found it in a thrift shop and I was so happy.
Very cool. And we're
Yeah.
also joined by another special guest. First time on our podcast. Only your second time at movie night, correct?
Yes, that's
Oh,
true.
really?
I came for Batman 66, which is one of my favorite childhood movies.
Right.
And I had to come for Star Trek. It's been a while since I've seen the
We're roping him in one at a
motion
time.
picture,
Yes.
so I had to take it in.
Thank
Welcome,
you so much
Devis.
for coming.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm Devis.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
And not your first time on this stage, though.
No,
Once
no.
again, we had to chase for the
okay.
the
so you're a
Thing
musician.
review, who's a musician, and
Yep.
now we got Devis, who performed. Was it last? No, 2 weekends ago.
2 weekends
for
ago,
the
yeah.
Soul City Music, the Winter Co-op.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I was
Absolutely
here for
crushed
that. Nice. So we know that we know, and they know that we love Star Trek. But now they want to know if you love Star Trek. Are you a Star Trek fan?
I do love Star Trek.
Okay.
My mom was a Trekkie, is a Trekkie, and I inherited it. I
Nice.
grew up on it. It was on after school every day on the Space Channel, and like on every day of the week there'd be a different Trek show on. So I'd watch it. I'd love it. The new movies came out, and I was like, "These are great." And then I grew up, and I was like, "Ah, these are fun."
Yeah, exactly.
I like
And-
that pivot.
And
I
then the
like
new
that
shows
pivot.
came out, and I was like, "Yeah, some of these are good, and some of these are fun."
Tried really hard to like them.
Some of these
Yeah.
are watchable.
Yeah, some of them are not. So let's talk about our experience with this movie. I think I saw all the movies before I ever went back to watch the show, and I marathoned them in 1 week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because 6 was not out yet. And even though I knew the reputation of this film, I still always had a soft spot for her. And Champion, what about you?
Similar to your experience, and similar to all of our experiences here, in that we started with Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, went all the way through, and then circled back to this one.
Sure.
I watched Star Trek II when I was a little kid, and went on from there. Saw some of them in theaters. I wasn't even really aware that this movie existed until I was probably 11 or 12 years old or so. When I was on vacation, I was in Nova Scotia on a little island
Cool.
with a fishing village on it at my aunt's house. And there was nothing to do except it was a little black and white TV upstairs. And I turned it on. There's nothing on. That looks like a Klingon. What is this thing that I'm watching?
Right.
And
Nice,
it was right at the
nice.
beginning. It was the Klingon ships, going to investigate the anomaly. And it was finding a new Star Trek film
Yeah.
Yep.
so long after discovering
know.
the first one. It was pretty wild. And I have a soft spot for it. It's not my favorite Star Trek movie,
Sure.
but it's also the only Star Trek
Yeah.
movie. I have complicated feelings about it.
But also, like, what a great way to start with those the new revamped Klingons, never seen before.
Yeah, true,
Yeah.
true,
New
true.
language, new look, new uniforms. No longer are they in sparkly orange vests.
Right,
Do miss
good
the
point.
sparkly orange
This
vests.
is sparkly orange
And a
vests.
pretty kick-ass theme song, too, that has
Yeah.
endured the test of time.
So good.
Yeah, because we have first the opening theme is the Next Generation theme, right?
Yeah.
It was used
Yeah.
later for Next Generation, but the Klingon music,
Like, it's so good.
Oh, it's so good. And
Yeah.
who's the composer? Is it?
Jerry Goldsmith.
Yes.
Jerry Goldsmith.
So
we'll talk
good.
more about him later, because I have a lot to say about him.
And nowadays, it seems like every third movie that comes out is contractually obligated to use Hans Zimmer, and he's done some good music in his day, but is any of 90% of his music is not as hummable or as memorable as the music in this film.
No.
I feel
Yeah.
like there's so many cues in this where I remember that, I remember that, I remember that,
Yeah.
right?
The score in this music was actually insane. Like
Right.
watching, I was like, damn, like the music is like
Yeah.
going hard every single time for like
Yes.
nothing.
Mm.
You're totally
For
right.
nothing happening. And the music's like
But
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah,
but that's one of
like-
the reasons why I've seen this one more than any of the others.
Oh.
Not seen, but
Really?
I've had it on in my house.
Okay.
Because I'll be like, I feel Star Trek-y, but I'm also making dinner.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sit down and watch a movie, so I'm going to put this on. And it's
You know,
kind of like having a...
you could buy the CD of the soundtrack. Like you don't have to put on the whole movie.
if I buy a CD, then I have to find something to play a CD on.
So, Heather, did you talk about your first experience with this movie yet?
I think I did not. I think I just watched it in order. 'Cause
Okay,
Once again,
okay.
like very young, my brother's watching Buzz Lightyear. My mom's like, this is a lot like Trouble with Tribbles. You guys would like Star Trek. She didn't know what season that episode was, so she just bought the first season. We watched the first season. Oh, it wasn't in there. Bought the second season. Watched through. Bought the third season, and then we just went through. Like I think I watched all
Chronological.
Star Trek like chronological in order of release date. And so after we watched all original series, we just watched the motion picture.
That's amazing.
So
Yeah.
did you basically did a deep dive into Star Trek just because your mom couldn't find that one episode?
She
So
didn't
like,
know
let's
what it
watch them all till
was.
we
That's
find it.
awesome.
So she just bought the first season
great.
and we just
I
watched
love
it.
that.
Yeah. And then eventually once we watched that episode, we already liked Star Trek. And so she's like, well, I'm just gonna keep buying these shows now.
That's good
and we
parenting.
did that.
And it is.
It is.
And what was your impression? Did this one stand out as being better, worse?
It stood out as being like not the most memorable because once again I'm very young when I first watched these movies. And so I really didn't remember a lot. This movie is a lot of like visuals but also like very like 80s psychedelic visuals, like
Sure.
nothing
Yeah.
to really grasp onto, and especially being like kind of young, nothing really cemented in my mind very well.
Sure.
I think I remember the costumes, like all of their scrubs, you know, all their beige scrubs, and being like not very impressive. And that is also like it didn't root in my mind, like nothing's very colorful and stuff. But all the other movies stood out to me much more.
Okay.
Like they were more fun, they were more concrete. Like I could
Sure.
something to hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. We'll circle back to that definitely.
Yeah.
But Devis, tell us about your experience. First time you saw this movie.
Yeah, so my first time watching this movie, it was like right around like beginning of university, and it definitely didn't stand out as much. I think I definitely did the thing where you watch Wrath of Khan and then you just keep going.
yeah.
I think it was like right after Star Trek Into Darkness, and I was just like, okay, well, what's the big deal about this Khan guy? And then watch that one, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I just kept watching, and then circled back, and I had kept hearing that everybody was calling this one the slow motion picture.
Right.
And I was just like, well, it can't be that bad. And little 20-year-old Devis was like, I don't get it. Where's the action? I just watched Benedict Cumberbatch just
Oh my
destroy a bunch of people. He
It's my
crushed
least
RoboCop's
fa-
head.
Least favorite AOS
Um,
movie, by the way. Least favorite.
But yeah, so like watching it now, I'm like, okay, I have a much more, after watching Star Trek as an adult, I have a much larger appreciation
Yeah.
for this movie.
I do
Sure.
like slow motion though, especially after you were talking. You're like, oh, it's the meteor cut. Like I added all this stuff, and my first thought was like, oh, that's what this movie needs. It needs to be
more.
longer.
Yeah.
This movie needs to be longer.
Let's fly by
for
the Enterprise
sure,
again.
for sure.
Let me see if I can find a better parking
Do another
spot.
one. Just replay all the William Shatner reaction scenes again.
So we should talk about the context of when this came out. It had been about 10 years since the show was canceled.
Yep.
Star Trek was a big hit in syndication. They had talked about doing a Phase 2 TV show, but then Star Wars, the movie, hit. So the studio thought, let's do a movie, a big budget movie. And I believe if you don't count for inflation, or we're accounting for inflation, it still might be the biggest budget. If
Yeah.
if
That
not
rings- that rings
up until J.J. Abrams reboot, maybe. But it was huge budget at the time. And the movie came out, it was a big hit. But I think the main criticism was not only was it too slow, but it was also, it lacked a lot of the humanity and camaraderie from the TV show, right? And I
Yeah.
think even though I do love this movie, it feels like a good episode stretched out twice as long as it should be.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Ian?
I think I agree. Now I don't look at that as being really a condemnation. A lot of what makes this movie lengthy are things that you would have eaten up in 1979.
Sure.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Like so many shots of the ships flying, and like, why are you holding on this so much? Well, because if you're a nerd
Yeah.
watching Star Trek in 1969, and then you spend a decade and you
Yeah.
don't get to see it except for when you're able to pick it up on syndication, and then you get to watch whatever episodes they're showing. But so many people, myself included, when I cut my teeth on the original series,
Mhm.
and I felt as though the Enterprise was a home away from home, right? Like
Yes,
I was
absolutely.
intimately connected to that space. So the idea of seeing it for the first time on a giant screen, wow.
And this
Yeah.
high def as
In
well.
this high definition.
Right?
Yes.
Like even like watching it on reruns, like it was never this beautiful.
Mhm.
Which is why like you can't take this movie out of context because it
Yeah.
does not
True.
hold up in compared to the entire franchise. But in this moment, it was the most cool thing that had ever happened.
Every single person that went to that movie on opening night sat there and watched that sequence with their jaws on the floor.
Uh-huh.
And I bet a bunch of them came back the next day to watch it again.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't catch it anywhere else. And if people back then, and I assume they did because they made all these movies, had the same sort of emotional attachment to the Enterprise that I did, it's not too long. I think
Yeah.
it's just the
Yeah.
perfect length.
And there are some gorgeous visuals just like all throughout the movie where
It is,
you're just
yeah.
like you can't help but just like look at it and like look at the intricate designs of all of them, and it just kind of like just looking at it, it's like the best screensaver wallpaper that
Yeah.
you've ever seen.
Well, even like the space station at the beginning, I want to live in that space station.
Mhm.
It is so the design of it, the little lights, like the meticulous way that they frame it
Mhm.
and they film it against with the earth behind it, and then when they're flying in that little tiny shuttle, the fact that you can see that space shuttle or whatever the space station way in the background
Yeah.
when they're flying to the ship, and then the little tiny astronauts floating by. There's so much
Such a
attention to
neat
detail.
It was so
little
good.
Yes.
Labor of love.
I will say, watching through this movie though, I was like, damn, like there's a lot of little guys just floating around
Yeah,
there. Like I
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
I feel like this is not practical to have
Well,
this many
Love the little
men
guys.
As-
just floating around.
As that one dude learned when the cloud got him, it's like, oh
Yeah, I
shit.
know.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like there's an inordinate amount of little men in
Sure.
tiny spacesuits just floating around.
I'm sure
Like
they're
they're
doing
leaving and there's one
something.
guy. And like I'm sure he's doing something, but like the way he's filming, it just looks like he just does a backflip. And then he's like, bye.
Right,
Like,
right,
why are
right.
you out here? What are you doing?
Right. Well, and the thing too is like I remember like when I went to go see Batman, the Adam West movie that we just watched last week. When I saw it in the theater, I thought it was new in 1980, and I thought, oh, they have a bigger budget, so now they have the Bat Cycle that splits apart and a Batcopter. And in this movie, it's like now we've got a big budget, so now we're gonna have the space station, and we're gonna have
Yeah.
a better Enterprise, and we're gonna show off like, oh, we're gonna have someone die in transport, which never happened before,
Which
right?
was
Yeah.
Yeah.
horrifying.
Horrific.
Gruesome. Oh my
Right.
god. All of
Right.
a sudden, everybody's like, "No, McCoy's got it right.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
these things
that
are
was
terrible."
McCoy on this one, and then even the wormhole effect, the fact that they've done warp speed 1,000 times, but this one time, oh, we got these new special effects, so we're going to use them,
Yep.
and they get caught in the path of an asteroid,
Yeah.
and that creates a wormhole, and it's just so cool, that sequence.
Mm-hmm.
You'd never seen anything like that. Like you never saw it go wrong in the TV show.
There's an awful lot
So
of
yeah.
going wrong in this
Yeah.
movie, and it's all Kirk's fault.
It's
Yeah.
true.
Ah,
It's
interesting.
all true.
Interesting.
It's one of the things that
Very
annoys me with this
fascinating.
movie.
Okay. So we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to the script now. Let's talk about the script, okay? So before we started rolling, we talked to TJ about how this like the first hour, because TJ tends to watch movies and he just comes in the middle or he leaves in the middle. But he said he never saw the first hour of this movie, and he said now that he's seen it, he feels like he didn't miss much because it was just like getting the band back together.
Yeah.
And I do agree, but I still love all that stuff. Like the fact that you like Heather said, here's the new Klingon design, new ships,
Like
new,
it's so awesome.
new
Yeah.
language, new makeup. Okay, cool. Then cut directly to Vulcan. I love that stuff on Vulcan.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
Right? Like the mysticism and the giant statues of the Vulcan gods.
It's like peak like Vulcan stuff, like all that stuff. Like I love when Vulcans are magical.
I
Yeah.
agree.
A
I
little-
agree.
But it's
'Cause they're logical,
also
but they're magical.
completely accurate in terms of, I mean, not visually necessarily, but just the vibe of it all. If
Yeah.
you've watched the original series, like
Yes.
the Amok Time, the episode where he goes back to try and get a mate,
Yeah.
it's the same vibe and it's the same mysticism. And I love how they hold true to that.
Yeah.
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 And shout out to Spock's rock star haircut.
Yes.
Yeah, he had a
Yes.
little bob
Yes.
going on.
I was-
And you know what? And I'm not gonna harp on the J.J. Abrams films, but they don't really get that vibe right when they do Vulcan in those
No,
movies
no.
at all.
Yeah.
And it's like, look, we want this. This is what we want. Sure, you can speed it up a little bit and you can put in a little bit of, fun dialogue in there, but we want this vibe. We want this
I
mysticism,
will
right?
say I did enjoy J.J. Abrams like Vulcan bullying stuff.
I thought it was
Okay.
funny.
Well,
Give him a pass
Is
on
it
that.
time
since
for my
they're watching.
bullying
They're
today?
like,
Yeah.
oh, we are going to attempt to insult you and evoke an emotional reaction from you now. And
Yes,
he's like,
begin.
proceed.
Oh.
Okay,
But then one movie later, he's just punching someone on a
No,
train.
oh my
Yeah,
for
I
god,
an
like
remember
it's,
argument.
that. That's a
I
whole
mean it's
thing.
bad, but we're not gonna get into that.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation. But okay, let's get back to this. So
Mm.
here's the thing: getting the band back together. So Ian, let's
Yeah.
talk about Kirk in this movie.
Yeah.
They had to get him back on the. I mean, they could have just written him to still be captain, but they chose to make him an admiral and come in and boot Will Decker down a rank,
Mm-hmm.
and then. The rest of the movie, yes, he makes mistakes.
The rest of the movie is him basically fucking up Will Decker's life
Yeah.
Okay.
and bumbling his way to saving
It like
the Earth.
kind of feels like a reverse. Wasn't there an original series episode where an admiral came onto the ship and tried to presume control of the Enterprise?
A couple episodes
yeah,
like that.
there was.
yeah,
couple
like
episodes
it's
like
kind
that.
of like just a flip of that
The
episode.
Doomsday Machine episode.
Yeah,
there was,
yeah.
there was
Doomsday.
that.
That's what I'm thinking.
Then there was another
Good
episode. Was it the one where they fight wars by computers? And
I
there's
don't-
a diplomat that tries to
Maybe
take
I think
control of the ship too.
Doomsday is
so,
what I was
yeah.
thinking of. So it's just funny, sort of seeing Kirk on the other end, like just oblivious, being like, "Well, that was a different scenario. Like that's not me though."
yeah.
But I mean, it's not Kirky. None of the stuff that he does is Kirky.
Mhm.
Like he's always looking out for his crew. He's always looking out for his
and
ship.
yeah.
He's not like trying to steamroll someone's career to get his ship back.
Yeah.
And he's not like the shit that Kirk does is so callous. The entire movie.
Yeah.
The entire movie.
It's true.
He steals. He kicks Decker off of the transporter when he's fixing it, and then 5 seconds later, they use it, and there's a transporter accident whereby Decker's science officer is killed, and then Kirk's like. First of all, he's like, sorry, Rand, nothing you could have done. And then he just bolts.
I know it's a little callous. Like I know we're like, oh my gosh, it was terrible, but it was like a little callous. They're like,
Little.
Send,
Oh, it's
send my condolences to their families. You can reach this guy through the Vulcan embassy.
yeah.
Anyways,
One of them. The other one you can figure out yourself.
Yeah.
Random transporter person on a space station that I don't have to make eye contact with. Like, see ya. And then, what happens after that? So he gets his science officer killed, and he's like, well, I guess that's your job now, Will. And oh shit! Later on the deck where they're showing everyone the probe,
Yeah.
and then Epsilon 9 gets destroyed, and they're like, "We're under attack." Kirk's like, "All right, fuck you guys. Let's watch it on TV." Switch to the external view. He doesn't say a thing to them. We're under attack. Not, are you guys okay?
I know worse.
Nothing. He's just external view.
I know
Let's
with
watch
all
this.
the crew in there, worst pep talk ever.
Yeah.
Like really bad.
Yeah,
It's
it
not
really
very good.
shows the more you get promoted, the more detached you are from the
think-
working class.
You know, here's the thing. I think that goes for everyone in the movie, though. Like there was tiny moments of levity and warmth.
Mhm.
Like even when Spock comes aboard the ship, there's that moment where he comes on and he's kind of just ignoring everyone. But
Yeah.
I wonder if in 1979 what the audience felt like. Like, did they go, "Oh, well, it's because Spock is gone through this thing on Vulcan," or is it just that the writers are not quite getting the characters? It's a little bit of both, I think.
Have you like seen any of the novelization of the movie?
Red?
Yeah,
Or-
like
no,
read
no.
or little bit. So there's like a novelization of this movie that a lot of people like online like a lot.
Okay.
Because I was talking to one of my friends about like I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go see the motion picture. And he's like, yeah, like that was not great. And I'm like, yeah, it's not the greatest Star Trek movie, but it is the most spurky movie because that is the best part and the main focus in my view of this movie. And in the
What does
novel,
that mean?
It took me a
So-
second to figure out what you meant.
so I'm saying spurky because it's very Spurk centered, and Spurk is a combination of Spock and Kirk.
Ah, yes. Okay. Okay.
So in the novelization, Spock calls Jim this Vulcan term T-HY-LA. Some people pronounce it like Tahila something.
Okay.
And it translates to like friend, brother, lover.
Mm.
And like I think like before at some point, and I haven't read it, but I've seen a lot of clips that people share a lot. And I'm just gonna read one of these out to you. Jim, goodbye my my Tahila. This is the last time I will permit myself to think of you or even your name again. And there's another one when he gets on board the ship. It's like, and on the bridge, Kirk, the mere name made Spock groan inwardly as he remembered what it had cost him to turn away from that welcome.
Sounds like they want to kiss.
Sounds like they.
So
It sounds like they got a kiss.
There's
Sounds like they did in a previous
Yeah.
episode.
So there's some subtext in there that maybe is lost in the film. You're saying,
Mm.
or there was added
Well,
in the book.
I think it's
Yeah.
like added in the book, and just like if you sort of comment watching that movie with that perception, you can kind of see it because once
Yeah.
again, like the plot is just backdrop for like
Mhm.
them, and it
Sure.
coincides with like Spock's inner struggles. Right, he's trying to go through the like Kolinar, like purging all these emotions because that's what he thinks he's supposed to do. Like that's what he was raised to do. He's like, this is the right thing to do. Like I need to get rid of all of my emotions. And that means leaving Starfleet and leaving his friends and leaving his Tahila, his friend, brother, lover. And he's like, I can't do that because this is not right. I need to
buddy.
yeah, he's okay. He's
I'm
so
obsessed
sad.
with
He's like, I
this.
need to purge all my emotions, and he like can't. There's something holding him back because he doesn't know. Like he has so many questions, and he feels V'ger. He feels this consciousness, and he has this is the answers. And he comes on board the ship, ironically encountering the thing that's holding him back from purging all his emotions to seek his answers. And then he finds his answers, and then he realizes that the answer is balance. This simple feeling.
Well, I think that ideally the subplot would be parallel with the main plot. And I think this movie actually does that fairly well.
Yeah.
And there's a point in the movie where Spock, or I think Bones says, oh no, who says he's like a child? Is it Spock?
Spock says that.
Spock
Yeah,
Spock
Spock.
says
it's a
that.
child.
And he says, like a child, he doesn't know what he wants.
Yeah.
He just wants. And I think that's a good, explanation for the theme of the movie.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it works. That's why I say, like, if this movie was just shorter and tighter,
Yeah.
I think it would have a better reputation.
Yeah.
Because I don't think because now here's the thing, we have to mention this. There's like 5 different cuts of this film. Now there's a 6th. there's the theatrical, there's the DVD.
There's the extra long version.
Yeah, the TV version. There's the remastered version. Then there's the Blu-ray version. Then there's the version from a year ago. Now there's the Meteor version. Okay.
The Meteor
So Ian, let's talk briefly.
yes.
When they did the TV cut, they added in a lot of dialogue that was cut in the theatrical.
Yeah.
And the version that you worked with
Yeah.
legally,
Legally.
hired by
Completely
Paramount.
legally,
yes. Which version did you start with?
I started with the most recent version, the
Okay.
2024,
I think so. Yeah.
I think, the 4K remaster,
Okay.
which is pretty good.
Okay.
It's pretty good. There are good things and bad things about every single one of these cuts. And they did a lot of things right for this one. They replaced a lot of special effects that needed
Okay.
replacing.
I
Yeah.
noticed that. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought things looked fancier from when I remember
Mhm.
them as a kid. I
You,
was like,
you-
whoa!
do you remember that? I mean, I'm sure you do. That one matte painting where they're all standing on the hull of the ship, and it's just
Yeah.
it's like a child did it in Sharpie, and it's
I
like, how did
know.
this make it into the movie?
I know. There's a lot of those. Yeah.
So, if you don't remember this,
Oh, I feel like I remember the scene. I didn't realize that was different from
Oh,
the original cut.
It's big time different. It's big time different. We'll show you a screenshot of that later on.
Okay.
But it looks like the most ridiculous,
Sure.
janky piece of garbage.
I think-
It's laughable how
I think
bad
it
looks.
was released unfinished.
Yeah.
It was actually unfinished in theaters, so that's why the special effects were rough.
So to go back and do a bunch of that stuff is fine, but they did a bunch of things that I don't know why they did. Right? They changed some of the dialogue. Little things.
Different takes.
The two I'm going to use as examples. There is at the transporter accident when the accident's done and they beam down and there's this momentary silence and Kirk says, "Oh my God," and then Starfleet, "Do you have them?" For whatever reason, they cut out the "Oh my God" part.
oh.
They cut out the part where Kirk looks freaked out by what he's
They're
done.
like, we can't have him show empathy.
Right? Why the
That's
hell
not manly.
Which is,
Yeah.
and that's sort of the
This is
problem with this whole
Captain
movie for me
Kirk.
is that he's not showing the empathy that
Right.
he normally would.
yeah.
Scene number 2 was right after V'ger destroyed Epsilon 9, the space station or the communication station, and he tells Uhura to turn the screen off, and he goes, "Viewer off," and she's just standing there looking at the screen, and then he says it again, "Viewer off," and then she snaps out of it and goes and does it. In this latest cut, he only says it once, "Viewer off," and she goes and turns it off.
It's like they want him to seem like more incompetent.
Right?
Yeah.
And that second one, it reduces the gravity of that
Yeah.
scene, right? Everyone's standing there and they're ignoring an order because
Yeah.
they're so freaked out. Why did you cut that out? So I put those both back in, as well as some other little things, a special effect here and there that they changed for no reason, like little thing that they changed for no reason. I put that stuff back because I don't think there's any call to George Lucas this movie. Right?
Well,
Yeah, I agree.
and apparently Robert Wise was not happy with the theatrical cut. So his cut is, I believe, the first DVD cut is his cut, as far as I know.
Okay.
And he's not happy with later cuts. But I should point out, Robert Wise is a respected Hollywood director. He edited Citizen Kane. He directed The Day the Earth Stood Still, as well as other movies that I'm not remembering right now. But one thing about this movie is that even though it doesn't have the humanity and the humor that the later ones do, starting with Wrath of Khan, it still has an attention to detail that I think people don't appreciate.
Yeah.
Like, remember when Spock comes into the room with him and McCoy, and he's like, sit down, and then they start talking, and he's like,
Yeah.
sit down, and they keep talking. He's,
I know.
Will you
just sit down?
sit down?
I love them.
So great,
So
right?
good.
Honestly,
I-
most of the best. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No.
Most of the best things with Kirk I found were when Spock showed up on the ship.
Agreed.
Isn't that
Where
like, yeah?
it softens him immediately.
This is why this is the most spurky movie.
Yeah.
Because William Shatner does
Right.
not want to act very good unless
Yeah.
like Spock is also in the scene.
Everything he does is to impress Spock.
It
Yeah,
is.
it's like
but
an-
also I like that scene a lot because it's one of the few scenes that's not filmed on the bridge of the Enterprise. Have you noticed they don't go a lot of places in this movie?
That's a good point.
They like stay there the whole time, and that's why I found it ridiculous because because they had Dr. McCoy in this movie, and they wanted him to be there because they wanted everybody in there, and he kept
yeah.
having to like just come up
Come
to the bridge for
yeah.
no
That's a
reason.
good
And he
point.
just walk up there and be like. And I was
That's
like,
a
what are
good
you
point.
doing here?
Yeah.
It's because they're not going anywhere else.
My favorite example of that makes me laugh every single time. It's when V'ger, the probe, arrives on the ship.
Yeah.
And then, like, nobody's called McCoy, but he just bursts into the room. What's going on?
True, good point. Good point.
He just got anxious. He's like, nobody's talking to me.
Well, because in the old show, they had the conference room just
Yeah.
like they did in TNG, but in this movie, they did add that giant room where they watch the viewer. That's a pretty cool idea.
That's a great
Like,
set.
let's have
That's a great
50
set.
people
Yeah.
watching, and then I don't know if it's the same room, but later when Decker brings the probe and they're walking through that room, is it the
Same
same
room,
room? Yeah. And it's like, oh, this is a game we play, and here's the thing we do on this table. I love all that stuff. That's
Yeah.
great. And of course, I'm sure when the movie was done, they burned all those sets down. 'Cause,
Oh,
we're not going to use these
God,
again.
I know.
But it was a great idea, right?
I also love the mid-century modern look to the ship.
Oh.
like
And
everything
carpets
has a-
everywhere.
I
It's
want
so
to
good.
live on that ship. Oh my
I
god.
love the big room that like seems like this big shuttlecraft room and it's like carpets in there. I like that scene a lot though. If you notice, one thing I really like about them, most of the costumes in this movie are not very good, but in that big scene where they have like all of the crew like in that room and they're panning through, there's one like Native American officer with like full jewelry on.
Really? Okay.
And it's actually like a really like, because that hasn't been a thing in Star Trek before.
No.
And they didn't really have any characters to introduce that. They didn't want it to be a big thing, but
Right.
like they wanted to like have that character in there. And they didn't get a lot of time to do anything, but it's just they just want a message of being like, hey, like you make it into the 23rd
That's a
century.
good
You
point.
make it
Yeah.
and your culture is still there. Like they're the only people there with jewelry on. They have like the
Interesting.
beaded jewelry.
Yeah.
Good point. Good
Which is
point.
better than Chakotay and Voyager.
Like that's the thing is that a lot of people are like, hey, I've seen people online like from this community being like, hey, like all of these representations, like they missed the mark, and they're like, ironically, the best one has been this 2-second scene in the motion
Wow,
picture
interesting.
because they're
Okay.
not trying to make some point or like getting things wrong. They're just
Yeah,
being
yeah.
like, hey, that's you, and you make it to the future.
They're not trying to make a plot point out of somebody's culture.
yeah.
So you mentioned the costumes. I kind of the colors are okay. Look,
They're in scrubs. They're in a
Yeah.
They're, like,
series of
almost
beige
sterile.
scrubs.
like the old show was like pop art, bright colors, and then TNG was a little bit muted. This is like saturation down to 10% on everything.
I like everything.
But I still kind of like it. Like,
I
I like
hate it.
those weird.
No,
things
I
that
think
have
they're
Utility
so
belts.
unflattering. No,
So they
it's like
keep
a
their
belt that,
shark
like,
repellent.
It's a
I know,
belt
yeah,
that's like
exactly.
inside of these long shirts that peeks out in the front. It's gross. It's terrible.
And then
They're in
and the
scrubs.
communicators are
And
here
also,
on
like
her wrist.
Decker, like I want to feel sympathy for Decker. Like he just lost his job to this admiral, but it's hard to feel like any sort of like commanding presence from a guy who looks like he's been vacuum sealed into his like into his footy pajamas.
Yeah.
Right.
I will say they're like, because that was one of my things too about this movie, where I'm like, I love the vibrant colors, like I love that. Like I'm a TNG guy, so it's like everybody's got their specific colors for their specific jobs. So like watching this movie, it's very much like, you know, there's grays and peaches and
Yep.
all that jazz.
Beige.
And so it never really appealed to me. This watch through, I was like, you know what? Some of these are kind of dope.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's-
Kirk's like
ganged up
little
on.
like sleeve or short sleeve shirt. I'm just like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'd wear that. That's a look. It's
There's just no rhyme or reason to them.
the
They
thing
look
is,
like they're in a hospital.
here's the thing: is like when TNG did their first movie, the lighting changed, and it was very obvious because you have the exact same set with different lighting, and so it was a weird, whatever change. But in this movie, the set is also changed. So even though the lighting doesn't look like TV show lighting, it kind of works because the set's completely different,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, there's
So-
no frame of reference.
Right,
like
right.
when you look at the TNG movies, you're right. Like, oh, we're in 10 forward now. Why is it so dark and moody?
Yes, right.
Why is everything lit from below instead of from above?
Yep. So I think this works, and I like engineering with that elevator that comes down.
I
right?
do like
Yeah.
a tiny elevator in
Yes.
an engineering. Every time I see
Just
something in
those
like
little
a
things.
utility elevator, I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's so cool, and I wish we could have got more of that, but I guess we had to show more shots of V'ger.
Oh my god. Or just shots of people reacting to the
Mhm.
thing that's
Yes.
happening on the viewer screen.
Yes,
Like
good
there's like
point.
some like 2000s like screensaver like moving thing like lyric video and then people reacting to that.
That's one of my
So-
least favorite things about this movie, particularly in the Enterprise flyby,
Oh my god.
because every
I could swear that's the same video of Kirk and Scotty doing the same reaction video
Yes.
every single time.
but I just hate the way, like, it once or twice is fine, but every time they want to switch from this angle to this angle, it's like Kirk does this, and now the camera's up here, and now he does this, and now the camera's here, and now he does
copy paste,
this,
copy
and
Or
paste.
now he's
when
down
they
here.
Yeah,
show
looks
that,
good,
like,
looks
get it.
good.
We
Yeah.
get it.
the outside of the shuttle and like Scotty and like Kirk are like green screened.
Yes,
in
totally,
the ship there,
totally.
and
Yeah.
they're just standing
Yeah,
there.
totally.
I'm giving that a pass because 1979. This is
Sure.
probably
Of course.
this is probably pretty novel what they were
Yeah.
trying, and the fact that they pulled it off to that extent was
That's why
was
I don't hate
probably
it
a
because
win for them.
I have it in the context, but it's just silly now.
Well, it's I mean, you got to know your limitations even then. Maybe they shouldn't have. Maybe they should have just said, hey,
So, okay, I have a question about this edit. There's a lot of scenes. Okay, when Spock is flying through V'ger, is a lot of that stuff new? Like the special effects of like the planets and all that. Was that all there in the
that
original?
was all there in the original.
Really?
Yeah, I
not-
remember
like
that, I
that
think.
particular sequence,
do?
that's all original.
Yeah, I think I remember
Okay.
that.
I think there are some sequences that have been redone.
Okay.
A lot of the plasma-ish flying things, like when
Okay.
I think anything that looked a little bit too clean and too electronic, I think that might have been redone. But a lot of the special effects shots were just kind of left in there
That's
Okay.
cool.
Okay.
because this stuff it was a big deal at the time.
And it does. I think it looks good. I think that stuff is some of my favorite special effects in the movie. When he's going through and he's like, "I think I see a simulation of V'ger's planet, like the surface of the, you know, machine planet. That looks cool. All the weird moons looks cool. Like the model of what's her name, Aaliyah.
yeah.
That looks so cool.
Of course, my issue with that, they're waiting at this door. Spock's like, I'm going to go in. And he flies in and he sees all this shit. And then he comes back. Oh, I should have known. Kirk, what's the information? We got to give it to V'ger. All right. Door opens and the Enterprise flies in. And it's not that.
Yeah, there's somewhere else in there.
Yeah. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
what's,
That's the
what's,
thing about this movie. Like everything just feels like not very concrete. Like they're on the bridge the whole movie, and like I just don't know where they go. Like they're going through the gas cloud, and that takes forever. And it's like
So I was telling you just the other
lights
day.
and colors, and then they're on the right by the ship, and they're like keep going, and then there's like more ship. And then they're coming in, and then they're in this big area here, and then there's more, and then it changes. Like, I just like feel a little lost watching
True.
this
Mm-hmm.
movie. Like, I don't know where I am. Like, I don't know what's happening.
I
Like,
was telling this guy just a couple of weeks ago that I was, as I said in this podcast before, when we're getting ready to screen a film that is one of my selections, I will watch it a few times leading up to it to make sure that I'm not making a mistake. Do people really want to see this? I better watch it again. You already watched it yesterday. I'm going to watch it again. But I smoked some recreational whatever, and then I sat down and I watched this, and for whatever reason, it all clicked.
yeah,
For the
I
first
bet
time.
it did.
For the first time ever, though. Like, I realized what was going on, right?
Well, I had that same thought
Flying
watching
through the
this movie, and I'm like, I bet this would be a great movie to watch. High, like I bet I'd enjoy it so much.
It definitely
more.
helps with the pacing. But leading up to this, I'd watched this movie a bunch of times from the time that I was a kid to the time now, not really knowing what was happening as they're flying around.
Yeah.
But it clicked that's like, oh, they're flying through the cloud, and then they get to the spaceship, and then they fly along the spaceship to the other side of it, and that's the second little sequence.
I think.
And then they get yanked
Yeah.
in, and that's the third sequence.
Like I
But
get it.
I think
but
some of it's been fixed.
I think so.
I think if you go back to an old edit, it's not as clear.
I
because
think so.
I think we talked about the shots of the Earth are new, aren't they? Right?
I'm
I
not
don't.
sure.
I don't remember seeing them.
I don't think I think the shots of the Earth are the same, but I think the shots of the V'ger probe,
Okay.
like the big ship, those are redone, which
Okay,
made it
okay.
easier for me to figure out, like, oh, they're flying along a spaceship
I
now.
But
wish
even
I
so,
had-
like it, like I like understand that that's what's happening, but like visually, like I can't hold on to anything
Because the concepts are so similar visually, and
Yeah,
that's
and it's
another
just
issue
like-
because, like, especially if you're watching it when you're younger, if you're distracted or something, you can walk away
yeah,
and you can miss the part where now they've done this, but you come back and you see the same
I don't know,
thing.
it just like looks like a high tech like kaleidoscope, and every
Right,
time they
right,
enter
right.
a new room, they just shake the beads a little. And they're like, it's a new room. And it's like we're traveling, and they're like just moving it around, and they're like, "Isn't this cool? This is a new place." And I'm like, "I guess I just see pretty colors
Yeah,
and lights."
totally.
And you're telling me you're like, "This is the inside of this ship," and I'm like, "Okay, sure," but like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I
100%.
understand. Like,
Yeah.
I understand where we
Yes.
are because that's where you told me I am. But all I see was a series of shifting lights
Yes.
happening in front of my face.
No, I would like to now go back to the I want to go back to the VHS cut because that's the one I started with, and I mean, it didn't help that the TV I was watching and I was this big, and it was probably pan and scan, right? So that probably didn't help. Like, where are they? You know. So there you go. That's probably did this screen help? The the sound helped. Like, whatever.
But the fact that it's a long sequence of them flying towards a thing, and then we have 90 seconds of
Yeah.
this is what's happening next, and then we have 30 minutes of them flying towards another thing, and then
Yes.
90 seconds of exposition, and then
Yeah,
30 minutes of
totally
flying.
right.
Yeah,
If you
like-
if you happen to be like checking your phone for those 90 seconds, you're
Yeah.
gonna miss everything that you need to know.
Yeah, like, yeah. I don't know, it just feels like I understand that we're moving in these areas, but it just feels like we're just like looking at a kaleidoscope and they're just changing it. And they're like, now we're here.
100%.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay. And they're like, now we're here.
Yeah, there's a difference between being
Yeah.
able to figure it out and it being clear. And
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
never really clear, right? Now it's a little bit clearer.
That was kind of
A
my
little bit.
point. Like it took me 25 years to figure it out, but I finally figured it out.
So I don't know what to say about this movie. I mean, it came out. It was actually a huge hit. It made a lot of money.
Yep.
But there was also the sense that it's not what people wanted, and so they totally pivoted for the next movie. They cut the budget in half, if not more. Is there anything that was lost after this movie? Like, I remember one of my friends, actually Dustin Windebank,
Oh, yeah.
once said that he thought this was the classiest Star Trek film. Does anyone want to?
Star
What do you
Trek
think?
doesn't. You go.
Oh, me.
I've talked a lot. I don't want to talk over you a lot.
Yeah, we're sick of her.
I sometimes I'll
would-
see these videos back and I'm like, oh my god, I'm talking over it.
No. For me, I would say like for some I see Star Trek as very classy. Like most of the series, there's just something about it. It's just like, just a bunch of really cool nerds just like talking around a table, talking about like science stuff. I'm like, yes, no, give me that every day. And like they're drinking tea and like they're
Yep.
cooking for each other. I'm just like, this is super classy. So I would say that the first one does skew more classy than the other ones.
Sure.
Just because, they skew more into the action of it all, like gradually as the movies move forward.
Sure.
So yeah, I would say that this one would be the more classy out of the 10? No,
Depends how you count them, but yeah, I guess 10.
Yeah.
The originals, yeah.
I'm gonna say the exact opposite of you, and
Oh,
that
no.
Star Trek is
Mortal Enemies.
has never been classy. Like Star Trek is about doing something kind of strange and ridiculous, and having a Star Trek be really polished takes something away from it. Like it sort of restricts you by being like, this is Star Trek and it's serious and it has to be really polished and like really well done and really thought through. Like, why can't we do something ridiculous? Why can't we go back in time and go save whales? Why can't we meet Abraham Lincoln in space?
This is the thing. Before you say anything, Ian,
Yes.
is that I think for me, Star Trek hit rock bottom. One of the rock bottoms when they did First Contact and they went back in time and they had that song by who are they? Steppenwolf.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
Magic
hated
Carpet
that
Ride.
so much.
I can't believe you would say that about my favorite Star Trek ever.
I don't
Is it
mind.
really?
I'm joking. It's,
Okay.
it's
You know-
not. I do like it a lot.
I don't
but-
mind
and then
First
contrast it with
Contact.
this movie is like the polar opposite of that, and it's also the polar opposite of the Beastie Boys in J.J. Abrams. I love the Beastie Boys, but not in a Star Trek movie.
I actually don't mind when he hits play on that Steppenwolf song, right?
Okay.
I think, all right, that's kind of cute. That's fun. That's fun, right? And then Magic Carpet Ride, the rocket takes off. What I don't like about that scene is how it ends. And Riker's just like, "Can you turn that off?" He's like, "Okay."
Well, that's just bad writing.
Yeah, it's bad writing.
Bad writing.
But we're not talking about this movie.
yeah.
We're talking about a good movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess like for me, when I like one of the things about Star Trek I like is that, like you said, they drink tea.
Yeah.
And remember when Wesley revisits the ship in TNG and Picard asks him a question in Latin and he answers in Latin. That's what I like about, and then
yeah.
that's what I like about Star Trek. No, these guys are like academics. They're intelligent and they're highly educated, and you want to think that in the future this is how everyone is, right?
Yeah, but that
Absolutely.
doesn't. I wouldn't say that makes them like classy. Like that makes like the difference of like Star Trek versus like other science fiction is that Star Trek is like kind of just a sitcom, like minus the comedy a little bit, add in science fiction. Like it's about them just doing stuff every day and them hang. Like most of this. episodes start off with them just hanging about doing whatever, and they're like, hey, come like have tea with me and do all this stuff, and then they're like, oh
We're
no,
gonna pretend to
aliens.
be Sherlock Holmes.
Right,
today.
but that's yeah, exactly. And would you say being like this show is super classy and it's so high science fiction? They pretended to be Sherlock and Watson, and then in one episode they got trapped in a parallel universe where they were like Robin Hood, and it's super classy and it's super serious science fiction. Like, no, they're having
not.
fun, and it's just that they're set in space.
What
Yeah.
I appreciate about, and I think this might be what we're getting at in terms of the classy aspect of things, is that it is very much not focused on the science, but the science is the backdrop on which everything else
agree.
occurs. So, nothing against Star Wars, but Star Wars is a fantasy film. It's not about the science. It's
Right,
about the
right.
characters in the story. But Star Trek is a world that we have got to as a civilization, and it is an idealized world where truth and reason and science come before everything else. And we're seeing the fruits of that. And I think that this particular movie does the best job of that.
I disagree.
And I think it's because of how it is presented stylistically and how, I don't know, it has that sort of 2001-ish vibe
100%.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
where like you don't have a spaceship going,
Right.
it's like
right.
quiet because there's no noise in space. The inertia of things start moving very slowly because they're very big, and there's a realism to it where it's like it's not pandering to me or my attention span. It's showing me how things ought to be.
Like I agree to some part. Like I like the not pandering to your attention span, sure, but I feel like some of the other movies do better with the core values that you were just talking about.
Oh,
like,
you were right about that.
Like the people and like this human experience and stuff. And I feel like some of the other movies do it better by having everybody really talking. I feel like this movie is just about like it really focuses on these visuals, and it focuses on this like high science fiction aspect. Like it's extremely high science fiction, which ironically Star Trek is not always the most high science fiction.
No,
True. Yeah.
particularly not when you're looking at
Yeah.
the original series,
It's
right?
just
Like it's
other than
campy horror, space horror film.
yeah, other than Kirk and Spock, like that's the only like real like human connection sort of that is really mirrored, and like sort of only relationship
Right.
that's delved into this movie. Everything else is just visuals, and it's like, oh, it's the computer, and what does that mean? It's like, I don't know.
I will agree. First of all, one of the things we mentioned earlier was how good William Shatner's acting gets once Spock comes in, right? Once
Yeah.
Leonard Nimoy comes in. And I think Spock, McCoy, and Kirk are like nothing can recreate that
it's
magic of those three,
It's
right?
them
Yeah.
every
Nothing
time.
can, right?
Too bad Dr. McCoy was not in this movie very much, except
He
when he
wasn't.
first got on and he was so disco.
The
Did you notice how
greatest-
disco he
he's
was?
my
so
God.
disco.
So
Yeah, huge
disco.
beard.
Yeah.
I love
But
him.
Leisure
He
Suit Leonard.
I know, and then
Yeah.
they shaved his face and undiscofied him.
Yeah.
It was so sad. It was like,
That
what'd
is
you
at,
do to
at
him?
the same time my favorite scene in the movie and my least favorite scene in the movie.
Really?
Yeah, because first of all, I hate the getting the band back together shit.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you want him on the ship, have him on the ship. Don't
Yeah.
have to go get him. But then we see him and he's all discoed up and he's wearing a medallion.
I know.
Like, what
it's
is up with that?
awesome. So good.
But then-
and his pants are kind of flared, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like
what
he's
I'm
from
saying.
the Bee Gees or something.
Yeah, I know. I love that.
Yes.
Yep.
But then he's
He's
like,
like, I got drafted. So good.
but then Kirk's like, I need you. I need you.
And the way he puts it
Yeah.
in his hand, I love that.
Like no human ever.
But then McCoy's response to that, he's like, oh, I hear Chapel's an MD now. Well, I need a top nurse, not a doctor who's going to argue. Wait a second. Kirk, didn't you just say you needed him? You already have a doctor. Dr. Chapel is your doctor.
Yeah.
Why do you
Well,
need to
it's-
draft one of your best friends
He just
out of
needs-
retirement?
He needs bones.
He
not a-
needs
not a
bones.
doctor.
That's the thing is that
I
it's
get that
because
though,
he's-
but it's another example of Kirk being a fucking dick.
I know
He's
he's being
enjoying
so
his retirement.
He's so selfish in this movie.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, I need all of my friends back. I need to relive the old days.
I
Yeah.
will concur that
Selfish.
it's like if there is a gigantic 2 AU size alien in space, why does he need this particular doctor. Like, what is he gonna do for that particular
And
mission?
then he does nothing.
He does nothing. You're right. You're right.
He
You're
just
right.
like keeps
There's-
walking up on the bridge.
there's
it's like
one
he just
injury.
wanted to see what was
Yeah.
happening, and he couldn't do that
Yeah.
anywhere
Oh,
else.
because Chekhov's wrist is burned.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why. That's why
and
Bones
and
was
who
there.
fixes
And
him up?
he didn't do
Fucking
that.
Chapel.
that was
Dr.
Chapel.
That's true.
Chapel.
That's true. That's true.
Oh no, that
Yeah.
was Ilea.
Well,
Yeah, well, Chapel was
Yeah.
almost
Yeah.
that
there.
irritates me
That's
too.
true.
But
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I got to point out. I remember when I watched this as a kid. I remember really appreciating that Yeoman Rand was there,
Yeah.
but then she was only in one other movie for like a cameo. I think, right?
she was in Star Trek 6.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no, she was in
3?
she was in Star Trek 6 as a communications officer
Okay.
on the Excelsior, I think,
yeah.
and she was in Star Trek 3
As a cameo when the
as a
ship flies
cameo.
by.
Yeah, she's just in there
Yeah.
shaking her head at Kirk.
But is this the only one with Nurse Chapel? I believe it is, right?
It
Yeah, I
is,
think
isn't
you're right.
it?
I think
But
you're right.
like she's done a lot in Star Trek since. She doesn't have to
Sure.
be Nurse Chapel. She's the computer.
And,
Yeah.
and she's Luxana
Luxana
Yeah,
Troy.
yeah, Luxana Troy.
But
Yeah.
I have to say, if you actually go back, and I've never done this, but I came close. If you count the number of episodes that Chapel was in versus the number of episodes that, say, Chekhov was in, Chapel might have been in more.
I think so.
I believe it.
So
yeah.
this idea that it's the 7 that are the main cast, she could have just as easily been in all 6 movies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she
it's
should have been.
Sometimes like some of those roles just like aren't as cemented, like
Right.
because she's the nurse, but she's not the doctor.
Sure.
So like sometimes it's just like, well, we already have the doctor person, and he doesn't need the nurse in this movie. So
Right.
and then like I think that's why like what's her name again? I'm blanking.
Yeoman Rand.
Yeoman Rand isn't in a lot because her role on the ship was never really cemented. Like I don't remember what exactly it is she did.
She basically just like got coffee for the
Yeah,
yeah,
That's
like
secretary.
that's the
Brought the
thing. Like
captain's
in the
log, just-
'60s,
Yeah.
like she was just the blonde one, right? Do you know what I mean? Like Uhura stayed because she was the communications officer, and people
Yeah.
that's what she did, and that sort of stuck. I'm thinking about Chapel now and that story being like, yeah, like they brought Dr. McCoy on. Imagine that you're a nurse on a ship and you're like studying to be a doctor for like years and years under this other guy, and then there's this other boss and whatever, and then eventually that boss leaves and you get up to this doctor, the other doctor leaves, you're now in charge, like you've got promoted to this role, you're in there again, you're so happy, like new boss, like new ship, like you're so excited, and then your old boss comes back and immediately demotes you for the guy that you worked under for like 7 years.
I mean, that
Tough
keeps
break.
happening. That also happened with what's his face,
Will Decker.
and Will Decker when
Well,
Spock shows up, where it's
Yeah,
just like
100%.
he got demoted again.
Yeah,
Oh my
he
God,
keeps
one-
getting demoted.
I just remembered one more thing about this being a very spooky movie is that Kirk recommended for science officer for Decker. I don't even remember his name because he died so fast, but the Vulcan officer.
Sonak.
And Kirk recommended him for this role because he said, this is the Enterprise and there needs to be a Vulcan there. And then he died and he said, we need a new science officer. I want there to be a Vulcan because it reminded him of Spock.
This is true.
And he misses him.
Yeah.
Kirk's got a type.
Okay, so this is how we could talk about this all night, but we got to wrap it up at some point. But I have to ask, okay, now that we've seen it again, Devis, if you're going to show someone Star Trek, where do you start them? Do you start them with motion picture or Wrath of Khan?
It's Wrath of Khan.
Yeah.
I feel like it's definitely Wrath of Khan. Just because, like, if you're trying to bring in a casual fan, like somebody that's maybe seen maybe a couple of episodes,
Sure.
maybe nothing, then you want to get them with the adrenaline first.
Sure.
Where it's like there are some good moments in that movie, some great acting moments. There's some great dialogue, some great story. Not saying that the motion picture does not have that, but if you want to hook somebody or at least like intrigue somebody, I would say that would be the best place to start.
Yeah.
And then go back to the motion picture when they're ready.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Plus, you get the characters better.
Yeah.
In this one, like
Definitely.
motion picture, like it doesn't feel like an ensemble movie, like some of the others do. Like some of the other movies, like everyone has something that they're doing.
True.
Yeah,
Not this
and
one.
That's true.
And I was thinking just like how I feel like the Wrath of Khan influences, or not influences, it kind of enhances what happens in the motion picture, where it's just like it does feel like you would have to watch the motion picture or Wrath of Khan to really appreciate what's happening in the motion picture, just because there is that through line of Kirk feeling old and like trying to get the band back together and
Yeah.
like trying to regain the days of his youth.
Yeah.
And it feels like the next step in that story.
Yeah, unlike most sequels, Wrath of Khan or motion picture has no bearing whatsoever on Wrath of Khan. Like almost next to no
That's true.
bearing on
That's
that
true.
movie.
I mean, there's an actual DVD box set or Blu-ray box set where it's called the best of the Star Trek movies, and it's just 2, 3, 4, and 6.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
if I were to show someone that was skeptical, that's what I would show them. Then I would go back and show them 1, and then maybe show them 5. Right? What do you think, Ian?
Star Trek: The Motion Picture is a great film to watch if you love Star Trek.
Yes.
Yes.
So if you're gonna introduce someone to the franchise, you got to get them loving Star Trek before you
Exactly.
get them there, right?
Yeah.
So if it were me and my approach, I would select maybe 3 or 4 original series episodes. Watch these episodes,
Good point.
get a hang of this and that, ending with Space Seed,
Yes.
which introduces Khan, and then Star Trek 2, 3, 4, 6, 1, and then let them decide if they want to watch 5 on their own, because I'm not watching that much again.
Heather, what would you do? Sorry. Oh, go ahead. What would
No,
you-
no. Is that the Final Frontier?
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta watch
Shatner's
that
movie.
one.
Well, I
with
mean-
like copious amounts of shots,
Yeah,
obviously.
it's a fun movie.
you can watch
You
them
gotta-
climb
you gotta watch
mountains
the-
in
you gotta
Yosemite
watch the
Park.
laser
Yeah.
brain.
Absolutely.
We did a review. It's our best review ever. Yeah.
Yes.
We weren't even
one.
going to watch it. Remember?
We weren't. Yeah.
We were not going to watch 5. We decided to watch it, and it was a great view.
It was maybe our best episode.
It was so
best
fun.
episode.
Fun.
Heather, so if you were to start right now, how would you introduce someone to Star Trek?
I would have them watch Deep Space Nine
Ooh,
Yes.
really?
Yeah.
Over TNG.
over TNG.
Wow.
TNG, because you can't just be like, just start watching TNG. You have to be like, okay, we'll watch these 3 episodes from season 1 and then skip to season 2, because season 1 is so rough.
And so season 2,
Yeah.
it's pretty rough too.
It's kind of rough in season 2 as well.
Yeah.
Like it takes a while to find its footing versus Deep Space Nine. Like it takes a while to maybe like get into it and kind of understand, but like it will like kick off like pretty soon. And also like it just being stationary on a space station just like sort of lets you explore this space in this area. Like I just think it's the best one.
It's
to
more
get
it's
into.
more self-contained.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'll say one more thing. Voyager. Voyager has more bad seasons worth of episodes than most shows have
Yeah.
in their entire existence. Like you need to watch like 76 episodes of Voyager
know.
before it gets good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Have tried.
Yeah.
It's so,
Exactly.
it's so sad because I have some of my favorite characters and some really good episodes,
Yep.
but
Same.
so much bad stuff as
Yep.
well.
Mhm.
It's like they'll have like 2 like complete S tier characters surrounded by a cast of Cs.
Mhm.
Like it's
True.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's so
Oof,
bad.
Neelix.
You, yeah.
Oof,
Less said about him,
Neelix.
the better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so is there anything else? Okay, how about this one last thing? What is your favorite William Shatner moment in this film? I think I already said mine when he puts the hand out and he puts it out again and it's kind of weird. And then also when he tells Spock to sit down twice. But does anyone else want to jump in with their favorite William Shatner moment?
There's I think when the beam is shot at them and like Spock's waiting to
Yeah.
waiting to send the message, and Kirk just spins around. He's just like Spock.
Yeah.
Spock.
Like 4 times. It's so
I'm just
good.
like
it's
great. It's
It
great
is
every
great.
time.
It's
Every
totally-
delivery, something
Yep.
different.
It's so good. Heather, do you have one?
Yeah, my favorite is when Spock gets onto the bridge for the first time in like years,
Sure.
and Kirk literally leaps out of his seat
Yes.
to go
Yeah.
confront
Yes.
Spock. Oh my God, you're here!
Yeah.
And then Spock is just like,
I know.
Yeah,
right?
and he goes
Yeah.
to do this thing, and Kirk is like,
Yeah.
did you see? Like,
Right.
Ian had to
Yeah.
like leave. He was like, I gotta go here, and I'm like, wait, look at how adoring
Mm.
and lovingly William Shatner is about to
Mhm.
look at
Senpai notice me.
and him at Spock right now.
Although that scene has some of my least. There's 2 or 3 scenes where the dialogue just like makes me cringe, and that's one of them.
It's that's
Where
true.
it's like, why it's Mr.
Spock.
Yeah, it's like seriously,
Garbage.
nobody
That-
nobody talks like that.
That's garbage.
There's
yeah.
also when Spock shows up, Chekhov's like, oh, permission to come aboard. Granted, sir.
Well, I-
Granted.
Yeah, I
What?
know.
Oh,
I
oh.
know.
Well, I think it's like they never thought they were going to see him again.
Well, yeah, but
He's going to purge all of his emotions,
there's
and then
there's
like
people that I've seen that I didn't think I was ever going to see again, and I didn't like break my words in half because I was so surprised.
I know, but it's Spock.
Hey, oh my
Spock.
goodness. No. There's all right. There's that. Oh, there's one more dialogue bit that really drives me crazy, and this has nothing to do with Kirk, but I got to throw it out there because it
Yeah.
makes me mad. At the very end, when we discover that V'ger is Voyager, spoilers,
Yeah.
and Decker's like, "Oh, didn't the Voyager probe? It fell into what they used to call a black hole." Like, what they used to call a black hole?
Catch
No,
that.
Why
What?
would?
Why not you? What do you call it now, Will? Why do you use that word?
Yeah, I know.
There's-
No.
Like, hey, Mike, how'd you get to the podcast? Say, oh, I came in what they used to call a horseless carriage. Oh, really? What do you call it now, Mike? It's called a car. Yeah, do you have a word for that now?
Well, you know what it makes me think of? There was because I used to do like comic strips for Star Trek, and there was one, and I wish I could find it, and it was before like black hole was a common term that people knew, and it was like it was Spock trying to describe to Captain Kirk what a black hole was in this comic strip, as if he wouldn't know because it wasn't a common thing.
Well, I think the thing is like, I know exactly what you're saying. I'm trying to think of another example. Oh, remember when Mike Stokloska did that random joke where he did like a alien voice, and he's like, I'll be back in 10 of your years. Like it's that science fiction trope.
Yes,
like,
yes.
why added that flourish, right? Wait. Have you ever heard of a black hole, Captain? I'm afraid not. Just fuck. Come on. Oh my God.
Well, before
You have to
people
send that
knew
to
what
me.
that
I'll
was,
put it in the
I
episode.
will send it to you.
That's
Oh, God,
nuts.
that's
funny.
I love that.
It
This is where exposition goes.
Yeah,
just like
exactly.
eyebrow up. Have you ever heard of a black hole, Captain? I'm
and let
afraid
me-
I have not, Mr.
Yeah.
Spock. Please explain.
And let me guess how they explain it. They take a piece of paper and they draw, or no, that's how they always explain interdimensions in
Wormholes.
movies. Yeah, wormholes.
Yeah.
They always
Like, stab
have
a
piece of
pencil
paper
through
and
it.
yeah, it's the same in every movie. But anyway, okay, we're gonna wrap this up. But one last thing, Heather, you haven't talked about your trinkets.
Oh, I
here.
got all my toys. Well, first, there's a reappearance of my purse tribbles.
Purse tribble 1, purse tribble 2.
Because they're tiny enough to fit in my purse. And I brought Spock back again, one of my prized
Why,
possessions.
it's Mr.
It's
Spock.
Mr. Spock, one of my prized possessions as an 8-year-old. And then here I have my communicator, which used to work but doesn't anymore. The batteries have long since died, but used to flip it open and it'd do the thing go.
It uses what they used to
Like,
call a
do the
AA
thing.
battery.
The dream.
Do the thing, and you could press buttons and it'd be like, they'd say stuff. It was awesome.
Awesome.
pretty sweet.
Thank you for bringing those.
Of course.
All right, we want to thank you again for joining us.
Of
You're always
course.
welcome on our Star Trek reviews, right?
Oh, great. Yes.
Awesome. More to come. I want to thank Devis for joining us on your first podcast appearance.
Thank you, Devis.
This was so exciting. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Would love to come back at some point.
And you're welcome to come back, yes, absolutely, at some point in the future. And I want to thank Champion for hosting Uniplex every week.
You are welcome.
That's
You're
right.
welcome.
Yes.
And so are
And-
you. And so are you.
Yes,
welcome.
and we
Everyone's
have so many fun movies coming out soon, so be sure to join us. By the time this airs, they might have already screened, but we have Blue Velvet next
David
and
Lynch,
Forbidden Planet. That's it.
starring Leslie Nielsen.
Oh, yes. I don't know if anyone noticed that. That was Leslie Nielsen as the captain.
Oh.
Yes.
I did not.
Yes. I figured no one would notice that. Yeah.
I don't think he makes any jokes in this movie,
No,
does he?
there's no jokes. He was a serious actor back then. But we'll talk about that soon. I guess that's it. You can see all of our episodes at youtube.com or comicbooksyndicate.com. We do Uniplex every Wednesday at Meteor in Windsor, so be sure to join us. Until the next time, see you later.